Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Steve again, Old Man Reads. Let's talk Stephen King. So I got into Stephen King at a very young age. His first book was written in 74, I believe. I was born in 76. So I've literally grown up with Stephen King. All of his books in my memory were huge events when they came out. I grew up with the movies. The first of his books that I remember reading is Pet Sematary. When I was 9 or 10 years old, I was at a family friend's house for the weekend, and they had a copy of it. It was relatively new at the time, and I started reading it. And even at that young age, I was really hooked in by Stephen King's writing. I had never read anything that was written quite like that. I don't think I read the whole book, because they had just bought it and they wouldn't let me take it home. I think I read a couple hundred pages of it. I don't remember if I ever got back to it, though. I know I've seen the movie, and it could be I'm just remembering the movie. I don't know. But I've probably read a dozen or so of King's books, and pretty much loved all of them. One of my favorite books is a Stephen King book of all time, and I'll do a video going over some favorites at some point. But again, he's always been a great an author that I've loved. I especially love his short stories, and I'll do a video about that too. For some reason, it's his short stories that make the best movies for the most part, and I don't know why that is, because he's got some amazing long books. Now, The Stand is obviously one standout exception, but anyway, so I've decided to go back. I haven't read most of his early classics, even though I've seen the movies and loved the movies growing up for most of them. And I know the stories, and that may be what stopped me. I've got this thing where when I've seen a movie, I don't want to go back and read the book. And it's a stupid thing in my head. I don't know why I do it, because every time I go back and read the book is so much better than the movie was. And I end up a lot of times liking the movie more because I see stuff in the movie that I didn't see because I hadn't read the book yet. So a great example. Well, I'll do a video about that too. A great example of that's Harry Potter, though. I was already well into my adult years when Harry Potter came out, and I saw the movies first, and I thought they were good, but I didn't think they were great. And then maybe 10 years ago, I decided, you know what, I'm going to read all the Harry Potter books. And not only did I love the books, the movies got so much better going and watching them after reading the books. So anyway, let's get to Carrie. So like I said, I decided to go back and read the early classics. So I just decided to start with book one. And I'm not sure if I'm going to go through all of his books starting with book one, but I've bought his first 5 books, give or take, and his first short story book, which I've already read before, but it was 25 plus years ago. But I do want to go back and visit some of these classic books. And in the case of Carrie, I'm really glad I did. I remember the classic scene with Sissy Spacek getting the blood dumped on her in the movie, and I'll talk about the movie a little bit at the end here. The book is just so much better, like miles and miles and miles better than the movie was. So you're following Carrie White, if you're not familiar with the book, who comes from a extreme fundamental religious household, where she's basically abused at home. She goes to school. She's being abused at school. The basic story is where the story kind of starts off is at 17. She's in a shower having her first period in front of the entire girls' locker room, and they basically torture her. They throw tampons and throw feminine products at her until she freaks out, and her telekinesis kicks in for the first time in the book. We find out later it has appeared in the past before, but this is the first time we kind of see it in the book. And then one of the other characters, Sue. Let me pull up the characters here, because I'm real bad with names. But one of the characters, Sue Snell, is a character that feels sorry for Carrie, and then is upset at herself because she was in the locker room and made fun of her with the rest of the girls. And her way to kind of get back, her way to make herself feel better is she has her boyfriend, what's his name? No, is it Tommy? Yeah, Tommy Ross. Take her to prom. And in the book, it's kind of, I always remembered it being they did that just to get her. And there is kind of a hint of that from some people. But from what I get from the book, Sue really did feel bad for her. And in return, she wanted Tommy to take her to the prom. And Tommy doesn't want to do it, but agrees. And Tommy ends up liking her. The other main characters are Billy Nolan, who's kind of your greaser thug, what's outsiders type of guy, car guy, and his girlfriend Chris Hargensen, who's kind of the rich girl, the leader of the mean girls in school, and she's with this guy Tommy, who's from the wrong side of the tracks, who beats her up, who abuses her, treats her like shit. And that kind of turns her on. So that kind of tells you what kind of person you're dealing with her. So, they're the ones that set up the blood that falls on everybody at the theater. And it's done a little better in the book. I don't want to give away too much, but it's not one bucket like it is in the movie. It's two buckets, and Tommy and Carrie get drenched with the pig's blood. What's cool about the book, though, is the movie is pretty much following Carrie the whole time, whereas the book you're only with Carrie about 20% of the time. It actually, you get Sue's point of view, you get Chris's side of point of view, you get Billy's point of view. You see all of their little stories, what led them to do what they did. I love books like this where you don't really know who the bad guy is. And in this case, pretty much everybody, but maybe Sue. And in some ways, Sue is too. And you'll have to read the book to find out why. But in some ways, everybody's the bad guy here. And I'm not saying that Carrie gets off because she was abused and tortured. She still murders a lot of people or kills a lot of people. And that's another difference in the book than the movie is. In the movie, she kills the people in the school, and then and then Billy and Chris as well. In the book, she kills hundreds of people, and most of the town goes up in flames. So the book is much better in that respect too. But like I said, they don't just tell the story following Carrie. They also have experts after the fact, many years later, who have written books about what happened with Carrie. You get some academic journal entries. You get excerpts from a book that Sue wrote. You get little bits of a congressional hearing that Sue's at, where they're trying to put blame on her. It's really cool the way he wrote this. And the fact that this was his first book. As first books go, I'd probably give this a 9 out of 10. I mean, he just knocks it out of the park for his first book. Now, when I grade Stephen King, he gets graded at a slant just because I've read some of his amazing books. And he's got some books that are 5-star. If I could do 5.5 star, 6 star, they would be 6 stars out of 5. They're so good. So I'd probably put this one at 3 stars. I'd put it right in the middle, maybe 3.5. You're starting to see his greatness already. It's not quite there with this one. It's still a couple books away. I highly recommend going and reading this. It's a short read. It took me a few days. What is it? 250 pages, give or take? Yeah. 248 pages. Again, highly recommend this one. 50th anniversary, man. I can't believe it was 50 years. I can't believe I'm almost 50. But, fantastic. And like I said, the movie, I went back and watched the movie. There's been 3 different Carries, and I've seen them all, but I wanted to go back and watch the original because it came out in 76. It's almost softcore porn. It kind of starts off with the Porky style, girls' locker room scene, shower scene. that's it's completely graphic for no reason, you know. Obviously, seeing Carrie in the shower and getting the stuff. I mean, that's an important plot in the book. But and then the music is straight up 70s porn music. It cracked me up watching it. So Billy Nolan, who's a really bad guy in the movie or in the book, is played by John Travolta, who just can't pull it off. He's too much of a nice guy, and you see it in the movie. You know, he goes to slap her, and it just doesn't look right. It doesn't fit at all. I don't, you know, it's a short movie. I don't like the way it ends. It ends with her and her mom killing each other, basically, which doesn't happen in the book. I'm not going to give away how Carrie dies, but it's much better in the book the way it ends. And then also, most of the movie is the build-up, and then the actual scene of the prom is only a couple minutes long. Whereas the book, on page like 110, is where the prom starts. So that's where you see all the experts coming back and discussing what happened, what they think happened, what could have happened. Highly recommended. I'm just going to leave it at that. So the next one from King I'm going to read. I'm actually in the middle of Words of Radiance right now from Brandon Sanderson. But the next one from Stephen King, I'm going to read is Salem's Lot, which is one I've been looking forward to reading for a long time. I barely remember the movie. I remember the vampire scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, though. So definitely looking forward to reading that one. I've always heard that it's one of the great vampire books. And I was a huge fan. I am a huge fan of the Anne Rice vampire series. So looking forward to that one, and I'll do a video when I finish that one. But let me know what you guys think, if you've read it, if you haven't read it, if you've seen the movie. Let's get talking. I will talk to you soon, guys. Take care. Bye.